Hey everyone, Kitana here and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my Astro community.
Business change, I like I ain't noticed. You didn't get at my main focus.
And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the zodiac sign you're most compatible with, and specifically, I'm going to be talking about sister signs. And basically, in astrology, sister signs are the signs that are opposite of each other, and astrology says that these are the signs that are most compatible with each other. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining why these signs are even compatible and how they can be compatible and serve a greater purpose for you and in your life. So a rundown of sister signs. Like I said, sister signs is like the, I guess, colloquial term for it, but it's basically the signs that are opposite of each other. If we look at a birth chart, obviously Aries and Libra are opposite, Leo, Aquarius are opposite, and these signs are always going to be opposite of each other. And opposite signs, aka sister signs, really represent a really important axis that really brings important themes into your life and just the greater collective of life in general. And usually sister signs represent two different polarities, two different elements. They represent this sense of duality. And when these two signs unite, it represents a really divine union that serves a really great purpose in your life, and just a greater purpose in general. And then I want to specify for this video that it doesn't have to be just your sun signs. This can be between like your Venus signs. So let's say you're like Leo Venus with an Aquarius Venus. This knowledge still kind of manifests the same way between that couple. Okay, so the first pair I'm going to talk about, of course, is the Aries and Libra axis, aka the sister signs of Aries and Libra. So of course, Aries and Libra really represents this feminine and masculine energy. Libra is ruled by Venus, while Aries is ruled by Mars. Aries is a fire sign. Libra is an air sign. And Aries and Libra are both cardinal signs. Cardinal signs obviously are initiators. They are leaders. They're also very sociable. So obviously the main opposition with Aries and Libra is that Aries is very aggressive, very assertive. Libra is very passive. And really it comes down to this very masculine, very aggressive energy, while Libra is more feminine, more passive energy. Although they are very opposite signs, I'm going to explain why exactly they need each other and why they are better together. The major themes of the Aries and Libra axis, we can think of the 1st and 7th house, also is self versus others. It's about individuality or independence and partnership. It's about this sense of independence, which is like Aries energy, versus Libra energy, which is about partnership. There's this sense of self versus others with this dynamic. There's also this sense of selfishness versus sharing and being generous. There's also this theme of like ego, which is Aries, and then the sense of compassion, which is Libra. And like I said, the commonality between these two signs is that they're both very sociable. They're both very likable. They're both about this sense of self and others, even though Aries is more so the extreme of being about self, and then Libra is the extreme about others. They both deal with this sense of how they exist in partnerships as well. A really important part of Aries and Libra partnership is that you guys learn really fundamental things from each other. Specifically, what the Aries partner can learn from a Libra partner is that they learn that it's not just about them. They learn this sense of social grace. They learn the sense of sharing with others, considering someone else but themselves. Aries energy can be very childish, and it can be very like me first, blah, blah, blah. Very much rooted in the ego, right? But when they join with the when they join with a Libra partner, they learn that people exist that aren't themselves. People have needs that they need to consider and be compassionate about. And they really learn how to be considerate with others from the Libra partner. Now, what Libra learns from the Aries partner is that Libra learns how to assert themselves. Like I said earlier, Aries is very assertive, very aggressive, almost too much so, right? So Libra learns how to be assertive, how to be more self-centered, how to consider themselves. Because sometimes Libra are only concerned about other people, to the extent they ignore their own needs. So from Aries, they learn how to consider their own needs and really incorporate their ego in a healthy way. And from the Aries partner, Libra Libra really learns how to cultivate independence. Sometimes Libra can be very codependent and very reliant on other people, but from the Aries partner, the Aries person will teach them how to be independent and how to behave and operate in an autonomous way. Okay, so let's talk about the sister signs Taurus and Scorpio. So Taurus and Scorpio is a very important axis. If we think about a birth chart, Taurus rules the 2nd house while Scorpio rules the 8th house. And when we're thinking about Taurus and Scorpio, it deals with Venus, which rules Taurus, and Mars, which rules Scorpio in traditional astrology. Taurus and Scorpio are both fixed signs. However, Taurus is earth and then Scorpio is water. And the major theme of the Taurus and Scorpio axis is this sense of possessions versus ownership. And the major opposition that comes in between these two signs is that when we deal with Taurus, Taurus deals more with like ownership and owning something themselves, while Scorpio deals with owning things from other people or sharing things with other people. It deals with other people's resources, while Taurus deals with their own resources. And then another dynamic to look at is materialism versus spirituality. Taurus is a very materialistic type of sign. I'm not saying that Taurus people are materialistic, but that's just generally what Taurus rules. It rules physical, tangible, material possessions. While Scorpio rules more so the intangible things, the spiritual aspect of things, the psychological things. Taurus rules what we can see, while Scorpio rules what we cannot see. And the biggest opposition is the sense of what is tangible, Taurus, and what is intangible, which is Scorpio. In commonality between these two signs is the sense of ownership and possessions. I would say the biggest thing too is this need for ownership and really this need for control. I think both signs share this trait of like needing to control things, needing to have power, which is Scorpio. Taurus needs to control things and know things are consistent and dependable. So they do share this sense of control and power between them. And Taurus is all about the physical indulgence and pleasures of life, while Scorpio is about the psychological and emotional depths of life. So what's really important when you have a Taurus and Scorpio partnership or relationship is that these two signs can learn a great deal from each other, and when they unite, they can really serve a really great purpose from each other because they're learning so much from each other. And specifically, Taurus teaches Scorpio how to be content in the material world. Taurus really teaches Scorpio this sense of stability and groundedness in the material realm. And then on the other side of that, Scorpio teaches Taurus how to get comfortable with the intangible realm, how to get comfortable with the psychological, emotional depths of life, the parts of life that aren't necessarily physical, but are very important as well. And ultimately, Scorpio teaches Taurus the unknown aspects of life. And in a sense, this partnership is really important because you guys are teaching each other really fundamental parts of life that you guys both kind of lack, but once you unite together, you teach each other how to do these things. Okay, so let's talk about the sister signs, Gemini and Sagittarius. So with Gemini and Sagittarius, they're both mutable signs. Gemini is air, while Sagittarius is fire. And if we think about the opposite signs in the birth chart, Gemini naturally rules the 3rd house, Sagittarius rules the 9th house. So we're dealing with this 3rd and 9th house axis. So really the major themes of this axis is the sense of learning something, the sense of teaching things. And ultimately the archetype we're dealing with here is the student versus the teacher. Gemini would be like the student, while Sagittarius is more so the teacher. And then something else they deal with too is the sense of learning versus experience. Gemini would be like learning. Sagittarius would be more about experience. Gemini is about the smaller details versus Sagittarius, which is about the bigger picture. Gemini is more so about like mundane, superficial facts, while Sagittarius is more so about the deeper truths, deeper meanings. And then also Gemini is more so about learning knowledge, whether it be superficial or not. And then Sagittarius is more so about philosophy and learning wisdom. And then another archetype between these two is that Gemini is kind of like the trickster archetype, while Sagittarius is the truth seeker archetype. So really the commonalities between these two signs is the sense of gaining knowledge, like I said. Really just gaining as much information as you can is like the two things that these signs do share. And then additionally, both of these signs are about exploration, treading paths they've never been on. They're all about discovering new things as well. So if you're in a Gemini and Sagittarius pair, you guys have those two things in common where you're always exploring, or maybe you're always learning or trying to gain knowledge somehow. Two signs to be together is that they really teach each other fundamental things that each of them don't really have themselves. So what's really important and why these signs are really great together is that they teach each other fundamental traits they don't have on their own. So specifically, Gemini teaches Sagittarius how to gain knowledge without prejudice. Gemini is great at just being purely curious about things. So Gemini will teach Sagittarius this sense of curiosity, this almost like blind, childlike curiosity without prejudice. And then on the other hand, the Sagittarius partner will teach the Gemini partner how to gain knowledge with the intention of gaining deeper truth and really gaining deeper meanings. Like I said, Gemini can really be about this superficial gain of knowledge, but Sagittarius will teach the Gemini partner to gain knowledge with a deeper intention, deeper meaning, with the intention of gaining wisdom instead of just gaining superficial facts or knowledge. Okay, so let's talk about the sister signs of Cancer and Capricorn. So with Cancer and Capricorn, obviously we're dealing with cardinal signs. They're both cardinal signs. Cancer is a water sign, while Capricorn is a earth sign. And specifically, we're dealing with the moon and Saturn. Cancer is ruled by the moon, while Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So the major themes of the Cancer and Capricorn axis, we can think about the 4th and 10th house. Cancer kind of is associated with the 4th house, while Capricorn is associated with the 10th house. So it's a really important theme between these two signs because that's a really important axis we have in our birth chart. And obviously right away, Cancer and Capricorn is the mom and dad archetype of the zodiac. Cancer is this divine feminine energy, while Capricorn is this very masculine energy. So we have like this mom and dad archetype that Cancer and Capricorn is associated with. So some things that we can really see in this opposition between these two signs is this sense of receiving, which is Cancer, while Capricorn is all about building. Cancer is about the sense of fluidity, while Capricorn is all about structure. And then Cancer is all about nurturing, while Capricorn is more so about protection. I think the biggest theme between these two signs is that Cancer is very all about nurturing something, while Capricorn is more so about building something, being more serious, being more stern, more practical. Cancer is more feminine, more soft, more receptive. And then Cancer is concerned with emotional security, while Capricorn is concerned with practical security. Like I said, Capricorn is all about building something physical or building something to last, while Cancer is all about this emotional, intuitive type of security. And really the biggest thing you can see between the opposition between these two signs is Cancer is all about like this inner world, right? This intuition, this receptiveness, while Capricorn is more so about the outer world, the outer persona, the more physical part of life. But the main commonalities I would say that these two signs have together is this sense of security. Cancer, like I said, is all about emotional security, sure, but Capricorn is also about like material security, financial security too. But either way, they do value this sense of security. And together, when they're in a partnership, they value kind of two halves of the same thing. Another commonality between these two signs is the sense of building something. I think they both build and cultivate themselves in kind of a different way, but it's kind of the same theme, right? Cancer wants to build their own emotional security. They might want to build a home. They want to nurture a home. They want to build an environment where they're comfortable, while Capricorn wants to build a life that is comfortable. They want to build a career that is comfortable. They want to build a legacy that will make them comfortable. And those are both two different things, but they're kind of the same in the sense because they want to build something, cultivate security for themselves. And then another commonality is the sense of sustaining something, about nurturing something. Cancer does it more in a feminine way where they nurture things, right? They cultivate it that way. But then Capricorn is more about sustaining like finances or sustaining their home. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily as feminine as Cancer, but it's more in a masculine way. And then lastly, I think a commonality you guys both have is that you're both about this sense of home. Although Capricorn is very much about like this sense of career and stuff, they eventually want to build a family. They're both very family oriented signs, I feel like, and that's the biggest thing about them that makes them like the mom and dad, right? They both want this sense of home. Cancer wants this sense of home, of course. They want to cultivate a home and nurture it and whatever. But Capricorn wants to do that too, even though they don't really show it as outwardly. I feel like they both value the sense of home. So when Cancer and Capricorn is in a union or in a relationship with each other, they have very important things to teach each other that each of them don't have on their own. So specifically, Cancer teaches Capricorn how to soften up. Like I said, Capricorn can be very hardened, very jaded, very serious, very stern, all about this sense of building something. But Cancer kind of teaches the Capricorn partner how to indulge, how to soften themselves, how to get in touch with their inner softness. They don't have to be so hard all the time, is what Cancer really teaches the Capricorn partner. And the Capricorn, on the other hand, teaches Cancer how to have discipline, how to create structure, how to be practical and dependable, and build this sense of structure from maybe like a financial standpoint or from like a legacy type of standpoint. Capricorn also teaches the Cancer partner how to ground themselves in reality and really how to ground themselves and deal with the realities of life. Capricorn is excellent at dealing with the realities of life because they've experienced very harsh conditions, while Cancer might not have experienced the same thing, but Capricorn teaches Cancer how to deal with the outside realities of life, while Cancer teaches Capricorn how to deal with the inner realities of life and the inner intuition and femininity that Capricorn might not have by themselves. Okay, so let's talk about the sister signs of Leo and Aquarius. So Leo and Aquarius are both fixed signs, of course. Leo is ruled by the sun, and then Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. So we're dealing with the sun versus Saturn. And then, of course, Leo is fire, while Aquarius is air. So right away, obviously these signs are very opposite, but the main oppositions that we can see with these signs is that Leo is very much about self. It's about maybe the people that surround them in a very close vicinity, while Aquarius is more so about the collective at large. It's about the community at large. It's not just about themselves. It's about how they exist within a community. Leo is more so about how they exist within their surrounding circle. And another opposition we see is that Leo is really about this sense of ego, and then Aquarius is about community, like I said. And then Leo is about self-consciousness, and then Aquarius is about collective consciousness. And you can almost think about it too as like Leo energy is more so about the smaller picture, while Aquarius is about the bigger picture. Another major thing about this axis in opposition is that I would say Leo is more concerned with influencing others from the inside out, while Aquarius is more concerned with influencing others from the outside in. And with the Leo-Aquarius dynamic, Leo has this kind of like almost like inward perspective. It's like inward looking out, and then Aquarius is like outward looking in, kind of like I just mentioned. And we can think of the literal example when it comes to the animals that kind of represent these two signs. If we think about Leo as a lion has a pride. They're concerned with their pride. It's the immediate circle they're surrounded by, right? While Aquarius can be associated with an eagle. An eagle flies above everything. Although they do have children and like a family, I guess, as an eagle, eagles do have the larger perspective. They're looking at the broader scope of life, while Leo is looking more so at the immediate scope of life. Now, although these two signs are very different, and I just mentioned the oppositions that separate them, they do have some commonalities between them. So I would say the main commonality between these two signs is individuality. We see it more with Aquarius, right? But honestly, it's two halves of the same thing. That's the whole theme of this video, is like this sense of duality. So Aquarius is very individual, and they're known as the rebels and being unique, right? But on the same breath, I think that Leo shares that same trait of being, they want to be their best selves. They want to be their unique selves. Usually Leos carry quite a bit of individuality, even though it's not like the same way, it's not expressed the same way as Aquarius. They both have this sense of, they both really carry this sense of individuality and this sense of like almost like a very strong sense of self, a strong identity, a very distinct identity. And they're also both about this sense of self-expression. Like I said, these are very creative signs. I think that Aquarius is a very innovative sign, and then Leo is very creative. So they both share the sense of creativity, the sense of individuality, the sense of creating something from their own identity. So those are the commonalities, but the really important part is what these signs teach each other. So when Leo and Aquarius become in a union with each other, or they get into a relationship, they do teach each other really specific things that each of them need to know and learn, but can't learn by themselves. Specifically, Leo teaches Aquarius the art of loving someone else. It doesn't necessarily mean like romantically, but like I said, Aquarius is really focused. It's kind of like detached, right? Aquarius isn't really focused on one-on-one love. They're more so focused on the love of humanity. But Leo really teaches Aquarius the art of interpersonal love between two people, maybe even romance, the sense of love just beyond being detached from humanity. And then Aquarius teaches Leo the love of friendship. Aquarius and Leo partnerships are really unique because Aquarius is very much about partnership. It's not purely romance. While Leo is very romantic, Aquarius isn't as romantic, but they kind of teach each other that those two things separately. But really, Aquarius teaches Leo the sense of friendship and camaraderie, and loving someone as a friend rather than just purely romantic. And like I said, this union is really important because Aquarius is a very detached sort of person. Like I said, they're the eagle. They can see over everything. They have a broader perspective, but they don't really have that one-on-one connection. But Leo teaches them that because Leo is ruled by the heart, right? Leo was all about romance and love, and really teaches Aquarius the sense of tenderness that they can give to humanity. Okay, so let's talk about the sister signs of Virgo and Pisces. So Virgo and Pisces, obviously they're opposite signs. Virgo naturally rules kind of like the 6th house. Pisces is the 12th house. So 6th and 12th houses are really important axis in your birth chart, and you can really see those themes prevalent with the signs of Virgo and Pisces. So Virgo and Pisces are both mutable signs. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, while Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. Virgo is an earth sign, while Pisces is a water sign. So some major themes you see with this axis, and some major like oppositions you see is this sense of martyrdom, which is Pisces, and then the sense of self-sacrifice, which is Virgo. And really, you kind of see this archetype of like the martyr versus the savior. Virgo is kind of like the savior archetype. They want to save, they want to serve, and Pisces more so is the martyr archetype, or like the victim archetype. So you kind of see the two opposites of the same thing there. And then Virgo is all about this sense of order. And then with Pisces, you see the opposition of chaos. Not saying that Pisces are chaotic, but like you see two extremes of the same thing, where Virgo is very concerned with order, structure. Pisces is less concerned with order and structure and more concerned with spirituality and fluidity. And then another major theme you see with this opposition is that Virgo is all about intellect, while Pisces is concerned with intuition. Virgo is a very intelligent sign. It's ruled by Mercury, while Pisces is a very wisdom-oriented sign. It's all about the sense of intuition and greater knowledge rather than just kind of like intellectual knowledge. And lastly, the biggest opposition you see with these two signs is Virgo is all about practicality. It's about the kind of mundane physical aspects of life, things we can see and do every day, things we can do with our hands, right? But Pisces is more so about spirituality, things we can think about, things we can imagine. It's not necessarily tangible. So right away with this opposition, you see Virgo, which is very tangible, while Pisces is all about things that are intangible. So given that, these signs do have commonalities, and I think the major commonality between these two signs is service. I think both of these signs are kind of about service in a way. Pisces kind of wants to serve humanity, or they want to help people around them. I think Pisces is a very compassionate sign. They have the ability to be very empathic and understand the needs of others around them in a very intuitive way. And then Virgo is on the same wavelength, where it's like they want to serve others around them. They want to fix things. They want to help people. They want to do things more in a physical way. It's less in a spiritual sense, but they both want to help and serve others in some way. And then another thing about these two signs that's kind of like things they have in common is they're both about healing. And then, like I said, Pisces is about like this spiritual healing, this healing of our inner self, this this healing of our spiritual self. While Virgo was really about kind of physical healing. Maybe a lot of Virgos are kind of into like medicine and stuff like that, where they heal themselves. They're all about health too. They're about kind of like the physical well-being, while Pisces is about the like spiritual well-being. But either way, they want to heal those aspects of themselves. And then another commonality I see between Pisces and Virgo is that they're all about this sense of self-sacrifice, which can be a challenging thing just because I feel like a lot of Virgos will sacrifice themselves for other people. That can be very extreme, and that can also be a very healthy thing too. It depends on the Virgo, but Pisces is kind of the same way. They will sacrifice their needs for other people. So they kind of share that same dynamic where they do sacrifice themselves for the greater good of people around them. And lastly, I think the biggest commonality too is that they're both about creating reality. They're both about creating something. I think Pisces creates the reality through their imagination, and then Virgo does it like physically. They might make plans and organize things and, you know, be more so in the physical realm and have a very structured plan. But either way, they're both about creating something, creating their reality. Like I said, Pisces is through imagination, and then Virgo is through plans and structure. And I will say they're both very spiritual signs. I think obviously Pisces is more outwardly spiritual and very obviously spiritual, but like Virgo is very spiritual as well. I think Virgo is more methodical and practical about their spirituality, but they're still both very spiritual signs. Okay, so given the commonalities between these two signs, we can look at the important things these signs teach each other. And the union between these two signs of Virgo and Pisces is really important because they teach each other things that are so fundamental that they couldn't learn just on their own. They need each other to learn from. So when it comes to Pisces, what Pisces teaches Virgo is really how to integrate their imagination into their life, how to go beyond mundane thinking and really get in touch with their imagination, get in touch with fantasy, really get in touch with this spiritual aspect of life and going beyond the practical aspects of life. Because obviously Virgo can be very much about this sense of structure, and Pisces isn't necessarily like that. So it's kind of like the opposite of that. Pisces really teaches Virgo how to just be and be fluid without having structure or without feeling the need to be structured all the time. And on the other hand, Virgo teaches Pisces the sense of structure, the sense of practicality. The Virgo partner will be very much like an anchor for the Pisces partner, because Pisces is like over here in their fantasy land, which they do bring Virgo into sometimes, but then Virgo on the other hand will bring Pisces back down and teach Pisces how to be practical, how to have structure, how to create order without chaos. And really the biggest thing that Virgo teaches Pisces is how to function in reality. I think this is the biggest thing between these two signs, is that Pisces doesn't necessarily know how to function in reality, but then while Virgo doesn't really know how to function without reality, Pisces teaches them how to function with their imagination, how to be creative, how to be intuitive, how to be more fluid, while the Virgo partner will bring the sense of structure. So they both teach each other really important things. So when they come into union or relationship, they learn so much from each other because they both have what each other is lacking. So comment down below the partnership that you're in right now, and if you experience these things and how this manifests for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and then subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in my next video.